Okay, welcome to episode 14 of the AMT podcast. Hope you had a good week. July's heating up nicely, figuratively and literally. So much good opportunity this month. We've already had 3 test matches. We've had the Newmarket Moët July Festival. And the best part of trading these sort of months is that you can really be selective about what days you work. So during the down period, you really have to scrape the bottom of the barrel in the winter. And you have to trade daily for a lower average to make up for the lack of quality action. Whereas in the summer months, you can make in 1 or 2 days what would otherwise take a week perhaps to make. So during Newmarket, it's only a couple of days long, but I made around £450 profit. And I was live streaming in front of a student, by the way, so he watched a lot of my trading over the 2 days. If that's something you want to be part of, then head to my website. Don't mean to plug this early, but there you go. But yeah, it's especially helpful during profitable festivals and race meetings where there's no excuse not to make money. So I'll get you on track. Anyway, yeah, 450 profit over 2 days, and didn't trade the racing for the rest of the week because I made a good killing off the cricket, made 1.4k, and that settled on Monday on the India-England test match. So yeah, another 450 off the racing and topped out with 200 on the golf. So was a £2,000 profit week, and I only worked 3 or 4 days. So I could have easily made that push to 3K had I worked flat out, in theory at least. But trading doesn't work like that. There's a fine line between pushing hard and overdoing it. So when you do have above average weeks, it's important to be selective and be picky with the markets that you trade. In fact, it's better to plan it in advance which events you're going to work on, because sitting idly, trading market after market is definitely counterproductive. You want to be fully focused and in the zone when you're working. So sometimes less is more when it comes to trading. You know, the less you work and the more selective and more in the zone you are, the more money you'll make. So I had a good week. Weather was lovely outside. Played a lot of golf. Went out and I felt a whole lot better when I was in the hot seat. But that's a lesson that comes with experience. You know, I used to try and trade anything and everything day in, day out. And what happened was I'd end up making a chunk of money and giving a good chunk back. So even though I was profitable, I was wasting a lot of time and energy. And that comes back down to efficiency, which is something I touched on in an early episode. So if you want to check that out. Anyway, that's my week in review. But today we're going to switch things up a little. You know, instead of me talking to myself, I've got a few guests on the show today. Couple of budding professional golfers who've been pro now for around a year or two. At least one of them has. One of them's just turned pro. And, you know, the first pro, you know, I met him last year, in fact. And I can honestly say, speaking with him and getting to know him, I was taken aback. You know, I was pleasantly surprised to see such a young man carry himself with such confidence. You know, he's not afraid of putting his neck on the line and making bold predictions for his future. And that's something I really respect. You know, too many people want to play it safe and be humble. And whilst there's a fine line between arrogance and confidence, having seen him play golf, I can honestly say he's one of the best I've seen. He's a former county champion, and not just any county, Hertfordshire, by the way, which is very competitive. He's plied his trade on the amateur circuit at the highest level, and he's even picked up a couple of prestigious wins. Got to a handicap of +5, and he's now taken the leap of faith and is going to make a real go of it in the professional ranks. So that's Owen. Got Elliot, who's just turned pro, and my buddy Zan, who knows a thing or two about poker. Not so much about golf, but that's a story for another day. No, I'm kidding. So hopefully we can pick his brains on his journey so far, his mindset, his goals, and hopefully give you guys an insight as to what reality is like in the life of a professional golfer. So without further ado, boys, if you want to introduce yourselves.
Hi, my name's Owen. I'm a professional golfer from Moore Park. I've been professional now for just over a year. And yeah, I'm just now starting to give it a good go on the Clutch Pro Tour. Played a little bit of Euro Pro last year, and a little bit of Open qualifying this year. And that's about it.
Awesome.
I'm Elliot. I've just turned pro, played about 4 events. Not quite got it cracking yet, but we're just getting warmed up, man.
Wicked, man. Oh, and when I first met you and I asked you where you see yourself in the coming year or couple of years, you didn't hesitate or bat an eyelid to say, I want to be on the European tour and I want to be world number 1. You still feel that way?
Of course.
Even after I kicked your ass today.
Ah.
So I had to.
Yeah, no, fair play. You did win today. Every blind squirrel finds a nut, eh?
I guess so. Every dog has his day, you know.
Every dog has his days.
Yeah, but honestly, how's it been so far?
The goal never changes. Sometimes you succeed, sometimes you fail. That's something I've learned recently. I had a big dream of trying to qualify for the Open this year, which is being played today. And I came up just a little bit short. I had Elliot up in St Andrews with me caddying in the final qualifying, and I mean, yeah, sometimes you don't quite achieve what you want to achieve, but what it does install is a lot more motivation to come back, work harder, put yourself in that position again, and just make sure it happens next time.
So have you got the belief now? You got so close. Do you think that you now know you've got what it takes? A lot of pros say who got close in the first major, for example. I was listening to a podcast recently. Adam Scott, he just missed out on the Open, gave him the motivation. Actually, I am good enough. Went and won the Masters. You know, getting so close to Open qualifier. Has that given you belief?
Absolutely. I think that was one of the first things we said, wasn't it, when we left? Like, I was so close. Like, 4 shots is what I missed out on playing in the 150th Open by. It's like,
and this is your first qualifier, by the way, as well, isn't it?
I've done regional qualifying before. This is the first time I've qualified for the final stage.
Amazing.
And I chose Hollingwell as my first venue, but didn't get it, so ended up having to go up to St Andrews, which was an 8-hour drive. And we went up there and we gave it a really good effort. But yeah, it was definitely something I took away from it, was that I was more than good enough. Like, the guys we were playing with, I mean, leaps and bounds above what kind of I saw from them was my ability. So I know I'm kind of thereabouts. My game's good enough. Probably have to change a few lifestyle things, a few things on the golf course, and that's probably the difference.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game of fine margins at that level.
Oh,
so smallest. I mean, you're playing against champions on the European Tour and PGA Tour, and having, like I said, being able to score and hang at that level. You reckon you'll be able to, hang there anytime soon?
Absolutely. I watch the golf on the TV, and there's no reason why I can't be playing. I've shot a lot of low scores. The difference is experience. I've not kind of, I didn't get any good until I was sort of 16, 17, and even then I wasn't good enough to kind of gain a lot of experience from the tournaments because I wasn't playing in the biggest ones. And then when I was 18, that was my final year. 18, 19 was my final couple of years as an amateur. And I won the Tillman Trophy, which was a bigger tournament. And then after that, I was kind of playing in a lot of the bigger stuff, but didn't really perform too well. And then I had my final tournament was the county championship, and I'd actually just split up with my girlfriend at the time, and I just wanted to have a break for the rest of the season. So I actually won that, and then
wait, you split up with her before you won?
Yeah, I split up with her the night before I won.
That sounds like something like what was it? Rory did.
Rory did that when he won the BMW.
He broke up. Was he? He called off the engagement with his missus. Goes on to win the BMW, the British Open, and the PGA Champs. Was it? So there's always a silver lining.
Yeah,
I guess.
Absolutely.
But what I want to ask you is, having won big events, as an amateur, the Tillman Trophy, being a county champion, what's been the biggest adjustment from elite amateur level? You also played the Brabazon, didn't you?
I played in the Brabazon,
which for those that don't know is the English Amateur Stroke Play Championship. Yeah. So when you played golf at that sort of level, what's been the biggest adjustment being as a touring pro? Because right now you're on the Clutch Pro Tour, right? And for those that don't know, the Clutch Pro Tour is a brand new tour. It's a developmental tour. It's on par with, you say, the Euro Pro?
I would say so. There's a lot of, the difference between the two tours is the Euro Pro at the end of the year, a certain amount of players will 100% qualify for the next tour.
The Challenge Tour being?
Yeah, the Challenge Tour, which is the next level. Whereas on the Clutch Pro Tour, by winning events or finishing in good positions throughout a mini series, you could get starts that way, and also European Tour starts. So you could catapult yourself into a...
Amazing. So I imagine you see a lot of guys that you competed against as an amateur on these tours as well, on the Clutch and everything.
Yeah, you see a lot of the same faces.
Yeah, so like I said, what's been the biggest adjustment so far from high amateur level tournaments to professional tournaments?
When I won the Tillman Trophy, I thought I was going to really kick on then, to be honest, and I didn't. And the biggest thing that I took from that is that I'm actually really not that good. Like as much as I'm a good player, and I've just won a tournament and I've played really good, even just without some good results. You need to get so much better.
What you mean is, I mean, you're good. Yeah. But what you're saying is there's a lot of guys out there on the same sort of level.
There's a big difference between playing professional game and amateur game. And I played with a guy who's actually playing in the Open this week, and he won the qualifying I was at. His name's David Kerry. I played with him about 3 years ago, and I asked him the same question on the golf course. And we'd literally just teed off and played the first 3 holes maybe, and I said to him, what was the difference between like elite amateur golf and not high level pro golf but professional golf? And he said the difference was you have to shoot 10, 11 under par when you play well. and he actually
10,
did
11
shoot.
under par.
He did shoot 11 under that day, like I promise you. And it was honestly crazy. And that was a big thing. You have to score low. Like you can't expect to make money at the level I'm playing at, but in order to compete and to know that your game's good enough, you need to be able to shoot the numbers. And the numbers have always got to be sub 7, 8 when you play them well.
That's wild, man.
So I'm just going to take it back here. So Elliot, I'm going to bring you in here. So you're on the bag for Owen at Open qualifying.
Yeah,
It's
I missed out
interesting.
by 3 shots on the final stage, so I had carried his back.
Oh, you played qualifier as well? I didn't even
Yeah,
realise.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
going to ask you.
I got my second pick. I wanted to play Moore Park, but I ended up playing Kedleston. I think I missed out on a playoff by 3 or 4, something like that.
Oh, that's
So
unfortunate.
then I went up and caddied for him, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it just so happens that Owen's qualifier was at our home course, which is really beneficial. So you look like a real monk, if you didn't qualify.
Yeah, there's a
No,
lot
I'm
of
just
pressure
kidding.
there.
He didn't, he didn't get the lowest score of the day.
No,
Yeah,
I didn't.
what's
I
going
got
on?
beat by 3, yeah.
And
Nick
you got
beat
beaten
me
by 4
1.
handicapper today. What's happening? Your game's hit a bit of a pot.
But even for me caddying, I
Yeah.
could see that I'm not far enough. I'm not very far away,
So
So it was
what
a
I
big
wanted to
boost
take
like
that from you is, obviously you caddied there and you saw these pros. Now you've recently turned pro, a bit more recent than Owen.
Yeah.
So you've just made that jump up as well. So now you've watched that game at that level. What have you realised from that?
The margins are small, man. You got to stay on point
Mm.
every second, and you can't slip up for one shot because one shot costs you a lot of money, man. But there's no serious difference in the skill levels between the winners and the losers. It's just the way they carry themselves, the way they hold themselves. They don't give up, little things like that. I think
A lot
make
of it's
all the
more as
difference.
people than players as well, isn't it? Like the way they are off the golf course and the way they carry themselves on the golf course is a lot of a correlation, I find.
How do you mean?
Like, I'm not saying the guys at the top are more secure or anything like that, but what I'm saying is they carry themselves in a more calmer, I'm not saying I'm a hothead, but my results can go quite different in a day's difference, and that's because of a lot of, I don't know, moods and things like that, and a lot of things can interfere, and managing all of that in a way is something I've had to learn. But the guys that I've always noticed that are doing really well, they manage themselves really well away from the game. So like a bad shot, a lot of people do lose their temper and they use it in a positive way once they do, but most of the guys, they're like more robotic, aren't they?
I'll tell you one thing I've noticed. The good golfers, when you watch them and they go low, it's boring golf, man. Nothing special. Down the middle, on the green.
Yeah.
They might stick it here and there,
Yeah.
or hold a putt here and there, but it's just no mistakes, error-free,
It's funny you say that because the same goes for my line of work, trading. Your personal life should mirror, your business life. And if you're calm and collected and disciplined outside your work, you're going to be disciplined when you work. If you're erratic and impulsive and lazy outside your work, it's going to feed into your decision making when you're trading. So you want to keep your personal life simple, and it keeps your work life simple as well, so you stay more focused.
When you were talking earlier, all I could keep thinking of is so much relatable to golf, man. Course
It is.
management, discipline.
It is, and this is why I make golf like a theme on my podcast as well, because there's so many similarities between trading and golf.
There's
So,
a lot of
risk and
similarities
reward.
with golf and life.
Yeah, definitely. That's why it's so interesting. You made that point about off the course and on the
Yeah.
course. It's the same with trading. How you are outside trading.
When you're having a rough day at home, you boys are all in like marriages or in long relationships. You're having a hard time in that. You can't go out and play well. Not that you can't, but it's a lot harder.
Yeah, I mean, it feeds into your work, and it'll feed into your golf as well. Absolutely. So that's why when you split up with your girlfriend, all your problems went away, and you went to win the championship.
He's not going to say that on a podcast, is he?
He's not allowed to say it. I'm allowed to say it. He can nod. No one
No
can see him.
comment.
So it's interesting you guys said this because I relate it, and talking about your trading, I play a lot of poker. So when you say about how people handle themselves, so actually Wednesday night I was in a cash game
Yeah.
and I got it all in, and I got it all in a good spot. Lost everything. And I was like, I was a bit pissed off. Then I thought to myself, you know what? Walk away from the table, give myself a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
I came back, and now it was me and this other guy who both lost in the pot, and the guy who was in last place won it. I came back, and the guy who lost his head ended up taking all his money through the night. because I handled myself better. I trusted my strategy,
Yeah.
and I just went back to doing what I know I'm doing good at. And he's the one who's gone away from his strategy, trying to be aggressive. And what's happened? I've taken all of his money.
Yeah.
So related him back to training, it's amazing. Like, I'm a big Tiger Woods fan, and I always watch how he handles adversity.
Yeah.
I've seen that guy grind to make cuts more than anyone, and you just don't see it anymore.
Well, it's like what you said when you was playing well in that last tournament you played in. You stuck it behind a tree on 17. Usually you might get them be a bit pissed off, but you just turned that way.
I think when you're playing well,
left-handed, bopped it on the green, hold the putt for par.
you don't even have time to even calculate emotion, do you? Like I'm 6 under in a tournament, and you hit it behind a tree. I'm chasing the leader. I know the guy behind me is one in front, and like you literally, I'm up against literally the bark of the tree.
Dead stymie.
You could not get any closer. And I could go back to the fairway I was on or whatever, but in that time, you could lose your head, and that's it. And all of a sudden you do something stupid.
That's where you
lose
need
2
Zan on the
shots.
bag. He's used to hitting the ball, from behind trees.
I'll make the up and down. Don't worry about that. Stick a few quid on that. It's all going in. You know that.
Absolutely. The up and down's where it's at. But what
the
I'm saying
mindset is different for sure.
It is different.
Think clearer.
And I think I've found that the more you do lose your temper, like a prime example would be like this Wimbledon final. If you don't know if you watched it, but Nick Kyrgios, the difference between him and Djokovic.
Just up there between
that's
the
the
ears.
difference between a champion and somebody who's on their way to being a champion.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the guy's got all the talent in the world.
He's unbelievable.
But at the highest
And he will
level,
win
it's
Wimbledon
about
one
fine
day.
margins.
He will win at Wimbledon one day. For
Well,
sure.
I think amongst the new crop of players, he's one of the best.
Yeah.
I don't feel like any of them have got a good head on their shoulders.
Oh.
Alex Zverev, Tsitsipas, Kyrgios, all of them can play, but between the ears, I mean, they just lose it. Djokovic, Nadal, and Federer mentally are like steel.
Yeah.
They're just winners. They can just grind out of nowhere.
A big thing with poker though, keeping your bottle, man.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, especially when you're bluffing, man. You got to hold everything in straight face. Obviously, we don't have to keep a straight face on the golf course, but we got to hold everything in.
That's
and
it.
act like nothing's happened. Dust yourself.
I mean, for me, I learned a lot from snooker, and
my boy Ronnie O'Sullivan, man, favorite sport.
Yeah.
Ever.
And one thing I learned from he's a bit temperamental, right? But before that time, when I was playing sports, played various sports growing up, my dad always say Steve Davis. He never show any emotion. Go watch him play. And I used to watch this guy win after win. He wouldn't crack a smile. He wouldn't do anything. They used to call him. He used to take the piss. He was so boring. His nickname was interesting. And that's literally what it was. And I resonate a lot, And you talk about golf, and I'm gonna ask Owen here now. Did you get a lot of mental coaching? And I noticed a difference, Yeah. The sportsman, it's a big thing.
I was gonna touch on that. Back to what you were saying earlier about the bold predictions, for your future and the way you carry yourself, with the confidence. Is that something you've always had, or is that something that's been cultivated and brought out of you
from someone else?
There's a lot of hints flying around. I ain't said anything.
So when I was younger, I played a lot of football, right? And I was like 12 years old and told that wasn't going to happen. And when you're a kid, that sort of thing that kind of breaks you. And I didn't learn a lot from that kind of thing because I was so young. And then when 4 years later, my dad got me into golf then, basically. That was what I was going with that. So,
sorry, how old were you? How old were you when you got into golf?
12. Okay. So I gave up football and I started playing golf in the summer. And then when I was kind of 15, 16, I was doing my GCSEs and I was like hating school. Like I did not want to be in school. I used to like get off the bus and walk to the golf club, like just any excuse to get out of there. And that was where I kind of fell in love with it a lot and decided that this is kind of what I want to do. And I started playing a lot of competitions and stuff, but I was just terrible in terms of my attitude, and I worked hard and I was trying, but I just wasn't going anywhere with it because the way I was. And then my mum actually, she works for a travel agency company, and they have a lot of guys come in and do like commercial talks and conferences and stuff. And one of the guys they have come in is a sports psychologist. He's worked with Darren Clark when he won the Open.
Wow.
He's worked with the Ryder Cup team, Freddie Flintoff. He's worked with Sam Allardyce, David Moyes. The list goes on. He's got a great resume of people. But my mum's boss actually introduced my mum to him, and we were like, we can't afford his fees, so that wasn't going to happen. And then I had to read his book.
What's the fee?
I don't know if I can say that on the mic.
Big money.
It's
Big money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. Like,
are you allowed to name drop? Are we allowed to say his name?
Yeah. His name's Michael Finnegan. You can look him up. His company.
You guys can look him up and find nice fees. I've heard his fees now, and I could not believe it.
His company's called Eye to Eye, which stands for Impossible to Inevitable. So any dream you have, which is class as impossible, turn it to an inevitable, which is good. And I mean, I've worked with him since I was 16, and to be perfectly honest with you, he's changed my life in more ways than just golf. Like,
So are you still working with him today?
Yeah. I was on the phone to him yesterday. We're in communication probably 2 or 3 times in a week. He's messaging me all the time before tournaments. He's a big part of my golf team. I have a group of people who are very close to me and with my golf. But he's unbelievable.
That's worth almost as much as a sponsorship. So you're seeing this guy for free. You know, this guy who's coached Darren Clark, who's coached Ryder Cup teams, and you get that for free. What are the chances? It's meant to be.
We have an agreement. We have an agreement. So it's not completely free, but I remember the day. The day he came to me and told me that he wanted to work with me, and it wasn't just a kind of another person on his list kind of thing. And he had the contract, ripped it up, and he wasn't interested in it. So we have a little side agreement.
When did he decide he wanted to work with you? Had you met him already? Or
So no, originally he actually came down and it was meant to be a favour. So I'd done like a AVA profile is what it's called, where you basically fill out who you are as a person, in like 4 or 5 questions, and it gives him like a graphic reading of who I am as a person. So he was like, oh, okay, he's quite an interesting guy. Like, I'm a bit of a weirdo. Yeah, I'm a bit of a weirdo, as Elliot can tell you. He's a good friend of mine. So, but yeah, he obviously thought, okay, he said he'd come and meet me, and he just thought he was going to do it as a favour on a one-off. And then I remember the first thing he said to me was like, I work with major champions and stuff, so if I'm ever going to work with you, I must believe in you. Like, I won't do it if I don't think you can do it, kind of thing. And I was 16 at the time. I sat back in my chair like, oh my God, here we go.
I mean, that's a huge opportunity.
So by that time, you'd already been playing for 4 years.
About 4 years, yeah.
Wow.
So you've been playing golf for 4 years, and what was your handicap when you was around 16?
Oh, 6'5".
6'5".
Not as bad as you boys.
I walked into that one. But you were 16 years old or whatever, and you had this, that's a huge lucky opportunity, you know, and you took advantage of it.
Absolutely. And the biggest thing I actually learned from him is to learn from everything. Not just from golf, but from your friends, from life. And then through that, I actually started making judgments on people who I want to be my friend, because of the people you want around you. You're a combination of the people you spend you're a combination of the top 5 people you spend your most time with. So by choosing those people wisely, should hopefully give you a good career.
Like what we were saying on the golf course.
Yeah.
Want to be a good partner? You hang around with a good partner.
Yeah, that's right. That's why I hang around with Elliot, because of all he's good for his partner.
He's a great part. But I want to ask you, because, you know, at face value, you're a great player. You know, you got a good golf swing. You can't help but play good golf. Do you think, how much does the mental aspect play a part? Because if I look at a player like you, it's like you can already play good golf. What does the mental aspect do? What does that do for you? Just swing the club and hit it. You know, you're going to shoot under par.
It's not like that. Like,
so what does he talk to you about? I'm saying, like, how does he help you? Like,
without giving away too many secrets.
The solutions.
What I'm asking is, like, if I'm a 28 handicapper, it doesn't matter how much I believe in myself. I'm not going to shoot under par.
It does make you're not. Obviously, there's a standard, isn't there?
That's what I mean.
There is a. I don't like talking about what's realistic and what's not, because I do believe in most things. Like, anything's possible. A 28 handicap can shoot under par. Like,
in theory,
it is in theory possible.
Yeah, in theory.
Like, it is not against all the laws of the universe. Do you know what I mean? But what I'm saying is there's still elements that can help, even for a 28 handicapper. The difference. I don't know. The things we talk about are things that are mainly now off the golf course. There's not a lot on the golf course I feel I need help with. I can, in any situation, sometimes I get it wrong, like everyone does, but I feel like I'm kind of getting there with that.
I agree. I mean, I look at you, the way you play on the golf course, it doesn't look like there's much help you need with what to do. You know what to do on the golf course.
Yeah, for me, it's all on my approach, and I'm trying to get more consistent with which person turns up on the day. Like, because I've got a lot going on in my life all the time. Not as much as a lot of guys, but I've got things going on all the time which bother me, which shouldn't. And they may be minor issues, but what he does is he helps me understand them, helps me what to learn from them, how to get past them, and he doesn't give me solutions. He asks me questions, and that's the best thing I've had from him, because it comes from within, then not from him.
So
big thing's goal setting as well, is it?
Yeah, massively goal setting and setting targets and plans as to where you're going to go with things, how to get there, how to think about how to get there, things to do every day. Because they're things that are like, I mean, you can just do such small things every day which will make things better for you.
So I'm going to talk. Elliot is just turned pro, just started out on the tour. So obviously, I don't know, Elliot, if you get any mental coaching in the same way or if you see anyone.
I could do with some, I think.
So what would you be your 3 key pointers for someone starting off to separate him mentally at this level?
So,
Because I know he can play golf.
so for my three pieces of advice
For
for
me
him,
personally, specifically.
Yeah,
for him
specifically.
Okay.
specifically. Where do we go? I think your golf game's really good. Obviously, we know that. You've got a great work ethic. I think maybe it's more professionalism, how you approach the game, trying to be more consistent with it and understanding maybe why you're going out there every day, what you're trying to get from it.
Playing the right game.
Playing the right game.
That's what I
exactly
call it,
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, because there's a lot of the times when you're out there and you're doing something that's good, but not what you're there for. Like Elliot's the sort of guy who's not going to be on the fringe of a green with like 6 feet to go and he's going to try and flop it in the hole or something. He's out there having fun, which is great.
Yeah,
because it is fun.
absolutely. Elliot, I was going to come on to you anyway, so now's a good time. You're how old are you?
28.
28. That's a really unusual age to turn professional.
I
You know,
don't
for a
look a day
player.
over 14.
I was gonna say you got a baby face. You know,
Because he can't grow a beard.
Oh, and how old did you say he was? 23. You're 23.
I'm 23. Yeah.
I mean, you look 28. He looks 23. When I was,
I've been playing. I've been
you
playing
remind me
professional
of-
golf longer. I'm
I'll tell you-
stressed now.
I'll tell you, you remind me of LeBron James. You know, he's young but an old man's face. You know, this is you remind me of.
I
Lucky
don't
there's-
mind him.
Lucky there's no camera here, man. I had a baby face. Me and Zan had a baby face at 23.
You two still got a baby face.
Yeah,
I still got baby
I had
face.
to
I'm
grow,
clean
I had to grow
shaven.
a beard. I used to go into meetings and people were like, who's this little kid coming into the meetings?
Easy paper around there.
I think, Owen, you got a lot of wisdom. I think that's what it is. No, but Elliot, 28 years old. That's a unusual age to turn professional for a golf. What made you decide so late?
Well, I
to turn
was
pro?
I was working in accounting
Okay,
for a long time.
it's good money.
Good money, but
Yeah.
sitting at a desk 9 to 5, I find it hard, man.
Uh-huh.
And I got the mentality that I can achieve whatever I want to achieve, man. No matter what it is, no matter how high the bar is. Like, that's kind of common with you, to be fair. That's probably we're on the same lines with that one. And I thought, I'm going to make all this money, and what am I going to do at the weekend? I'm going to go to a nice golf course and play golf.
Mhm.
So then I thought, why not cut out the working bit and just become a golfer, man? Then I can play golf day in, day out.
So what handicap were you off as you were working in accounting?
Oh,
Have
I
you always
don't
been
know.
around scratch plus?
Nah. I'd say 8 years ago I was 15, 20 handicap, something like that, man.
Well,
Whoa,
9 years ago.
8 years ago, you was 15 handicapper.
Look how
That's
good
off
he
the
is now.
that's off the top of my head, innit?
When did you
Like,
start playing golf?
I played for a little while when I was younger, and then stopped. I sold my
Uh-huh.
clubs and bought a moped, and stopped playing until about 19. Yeah, but then for the
Okay.
last 8-9 years, I've been
Yeah,
flat out every day. You know,
that's incredible. That's really rare.
He went.
Yeah,
to-
I'm
he-
a late bloomer for sure.
He,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He went to an American university with the goal to come back with no grooves on his 6 iron, and he didn't come back with no grooves. He lost the head.
Oh my
Head
God.
come clean. Or,
Was-
was that so? You played out in America then?
yeah, 4 years.
Which
2
you-
years in California, 2 years in Texas.
What was
But
that like?
I tell you, I grow a lot of vegetables in my garden. And
Okay.
it might seem like a weird thing, but I'll get to the point. And you get some plants that shoot up at the beginning, you know,
Uh-huh.
and then slow down, hit a wall, don't make no fruit. And
Mhm.
you get some that stay small, stay maybe a bit chunky, you don't think it's going to be as good. And then all of a sudden, a couple of weeks come and they just blossom, you know.
Yeah.
I could have the biggest tomato, man. So
Uh-huh.
I see myself as the late blooming tomato, you know.
And that's a great analogy. And, you know, that brings me on to a point I was going to come on to later on. And that's with how much golf has changed, you know, over the last 10 years. Maybe for all sport, but at least I can see it in golf, you know, having played golf for such a long time. Because I'm 30 now. And when I was a junior, to hear someone of +3 handicap was rare. Now, maybe that's partly because I was in a crappy county, Middlesex, you know, in Hertfordshire. Competition's a lot stiffer. There's a lot better players. But it's so common now to hear of guys of +4, +5, +6 at 14,
game's grown a
15
lot.
years old. It's grown a
There's
lot,
more
but
people
these
involved now.
that's true. But a lot of guys, like you know, you hear about them and they're tipped to be the next Tiger Woods or next Rory. They win the Reed Trophy, McGregor Trophy, the Karras Trophy, capped by England or whatever, and then they disappear off the face of this earth. You never hear from them
Let me
again.
tell you the secret with the tomatoes and all fruit and veg.
Yeah.
And it come down to it. If fruit grows where there's support,
Mhm.
and it's the same for athletes, man.
Is that what you think it is? You think it's the support system they have around them?
Yeah, there is a
I-
big thing. I mean, a lot of
Because I
people
want to give you
drop
one
out.
story. I don't mean cut you off. I just want to give you one story. When I was a junior, there was one guy in my county, Middlesex. He was of +5 handicap. I think he was around one of the best in the world, right?
Mm.
He won the Brabazon Trophy. This is a Pinner Hill, Crappy little course, +5 handicap, but played the Walker Cup. He was paired with Oliver Fisher, and in the final singles, he beat JB Holmes 5-4. JB Holmes went on to be the fastest player to make $1 million on the PGA Tour. Matt Richardson went to the Euro Pro Tour, skipped the Challenge Tour, went straight to the European Tour, didn't make a dime.
Ollie Fisher shot 59.
He did. He did. Yeah, he did.
This other guy?
Who?
The guy who won.
Matt Richardson. He went on to the PGA Tour of Canada. Couldn't make a go of anything. Now he's like a teaching pro. He was leading the US Open once as well after one round. You can look him up.
There's a lot of stories
Matt
like
Richardson.
that, man.
But the thing is, people that got to know him carefully, this is what I'm coming on to when you pointed out something great about the support system. Matt was a naturally gifted player, talented player, just raw talent. And he had one coach at the time. He had David Ledbetter was his coach out in Florida. Then all of a sudden, someone got it in his head that he needs a mental coach. So he hired a mental coach. Then he hired a short game coach. Then he hired a breathing coach. And he had all these coaches putting him in different directions. And apparently, people kind of theorize that that's where things gone wrong. You got to keep things simple. Like Tiger Woods says, keep it simple, stupid, So I think it's a support system people have in place. Would you say that you got the support, when it comes to family, when it comes to, the relationships you have? Do you have that support with you, for being a professional?
Yeah, absolutely. I think without my mum and dad, I'd be nowhere. Like, obviously, they've done so much for me to get to this point. I have a coach, swing coach, putting coach, and then obviously a mind coach. So, and a manager as well, which has kind of happened since I turned pro. So I have a good group of people, a lot of people who are in a lot of experience in the game, been around a lot of top athletes, as well as people who care about me a lot, and that's a big mix. There's a lot of sayings, too many cooks spoil the broth, but I mean...
Yeah, absolutely.
And the funny thing is, we're out there on our own.
Yeah,
so when we're talking about our team or your support system, it's off. And the same with poker, man. The same with trading. You're pretty much on your own.
You're on your own. Yeah, you're on your own in the deep end. But the support system, even doing what I'm doing for a living, when I was 21,
you need it. It's just the biggest thing.
You need it because when I was 22, 23, I didn't have a job. I didn't have bills. Had I had bills to pay, mortgage payments, had I had a wife, had kids, I wouldn't have been able to go through the losses and the learning experiences. I wouldn't have been able to buy that time for me to learn my trade before I could make it as a professional. So I guess it's the same, not just for sport, but for business, for any endeavor. The support system you have around you, the people you have around you, make a big difference, as to whether or not you're going to be successful.
And you can build that yourself. That's not
you can build that to yourself as well.
That's not taken away. Yeah, you build that yourself.
Yeah. But talking about what you were saying, going from accounting.
That's when I was fighting as well, when I was doing the accounting, because I had so much energy built up throughout the day. I had to go training in the evening time, man.
What did you do? You was fighting?
K1, Muay Thai,
Nice.
Boxing, yeah.
That's amazing. The gym I go to, there's a Muay Thai. Well, he was world champion at the time, 2 years ago. He's, I don't know if you've heard him. His name is Alexander Bubliat or something. German guy, welterweight, Muay Thai world champion.
Okay.
And, the training is killer, man.
That's it.
But the point I'm making is going from accounting, which is a steady job, guaranteed money, 9 to 5, to something as risky as golf, right? Not many people make it. Only a handful of the top 400-500 players on the planet get to make it.
Your accountant wouldn't advise you to do it.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Your accountant, I imagine, the accountant mind in you is very risk averse. So what made you take that leap of faith,
I don't know. I don't know if it's something that you put your finger on, one moment kind of thing, but...
Yeah. Because obviously I met you recently, and when I hear you talk and, the confidence that you carry with yourself, it's like Owen as well. You're quite bold, you're quite out there, and you back yourself, in the situation.
And I suppose from training as well, Storm Gym where I used to train is big on training and practice, man.
Right.
And I took that into golf for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of side of it. So I almost enjoy practicing more than competing sometimes.
Yeah.
Same as in the gym, we're hitting the bag, sparring.
So introduced you to that discipline.
Exactly,
basically.
and the practice side, man.
We touched on it today a little bit, but you were saying how you think there's quite a correlation between golf and fighting and
massively.
Yeah. And it's just funny you say it because I always my idols are mainly fighters, like Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather, Anthony Joshua, Mike Tyson. These are the guys who I admire their mindset most. And,
absolutely, yeah.
And I'm a golfer, do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I'm kind of keen to hear why you think it's similar.
Not only just the technique side as well, generating power through the floor, through talk, that kind of thing with the swing.
Yeah.
Similar, but also, the fighting side and the on your own side, and the side where if you lose control of your own mind, you're getting knocked out, man. In golf, you lose control of your mind, you're out of bounds. You're topping it, But
Yeah, the transition's easy. You know what they say. You can play golf, you can play football, you can play cricket. You don't play boxing.
You don't play.
No,
boxing.
You have a
don't play
bad day,
boxing, yeah.
you know,
You get
you can
smacked
lose
up.
an eye, you know, you can lose brain cells, you know,
Like
you have
staying in control of your emotions,
Yeah.
and not going swinging out of your skin. You know, you got to keep your technique and keep level headed. It must be the same with poker as well, man. When you get short stacked, you got to keep your head on the game.
You've got to trust your strategy.
Mm.
You've studied
That's
it,
big, yeah.
right? And
If you have an edge in the
So
long
it-
run, it's going to pay off, you know,
This
you
is
got to
it.
take
So
L's
There's a
along
game
the
plan
way.
of everything, isn't there?
yeah,
That's it, yeah.
I actually, you see Tiger always bringing it back to golf. Tiger Woods, he went round Hoylake with a 2-iron. You know,
Oh,
he
yeah?
trusted his strategy.
I remember that.
He's the only one who did it. He
Oh,
went
yeah,
and won it.
driver. Yeah.
He hit one driver in the round.
I don't think he hit one.
I think
I don't think he hit one
over
on
4 days. I think he hit
Oh,
one.
he hit
Yeah,
one. He didn't hit it in
And-
one bunker, did he?
no,
That whole week.
avoided it all.
It was so bouncy. Yeah, I remember it.
But guys like Tiger Woods, they can win with their B game, you know, even when they're not playing their best.
But that's where it comes down to the strategy, the mental
and
aspect.
And it's like poker as well, and it's like trading, you know, even when you're not in the zone and, you know, you're on a dry patch, you know, as long as you don't lose a lot of money and you stay in control and you minimize your losses and you ride out those dry periods, you know, it's gonna make a difference, you know, to the bottom line in the
Do you
long
find
run.
a lot with the gambling that you're kind of, when you're on the heater and you're in the hot seat, is it hard to kind of step away? Because with golf,
Oh,
absolutely.
absolutely.
I mean, when I say step away, I mean, do you step away from the game plan? Do you get away from what you've planned for the day when you're on the heater and you're going well?
Oh, it's so easy to, yeah. It's
If you
so
hit a
easy
certain
to.
percentage, you want to keep going with the.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Or
With
do
the
you stick
profit.
to your game plan and walk away and
But the
keep-
thing is, that's the art of the game, you know. How long can you ride out your winners, and do you have the discipline to cut your losses early? So when you're hot, you know, you ride it out for as long as possible.
Mm.
The hardest part is when you're losing. That's when you have to step away. When things aren't going your way, you're on a dry patch. That's when you got to switch off and do something else. It's so easy to keep going and dig yourself a bigger hole, and that's where most people go wrong.
And we speak about this a lot, is fatigue. When you're doing well, is you stay in it too long, right? And it might be for you lot. I'm
Yeah.
playing well. I'm going to play that extra competition. My body's not recovered,
Yeah.
but, you know, I've played 3 competitions in a row. Do I play the 4th one? And I have that with poker. You have it with trading.
Well, I think it's
we
more a
discuss
case
that all
of
the
you
time.
playing well and getting too aggressive. You know, I think
this is
that's
what I
the
was gonna
best.
say.
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, when you're playing well, it's so easy to kind of get away from the game plan, isn't it? Like if you're and sometimes it's
Same as trading. Same
but sometimes it's actually right to. Like if some things are a massive strength and your game plan's not to hit driver on a certain hole.
Yeah,
But
you
you've been
got to
hitting-
you got to weigh up the risk reward.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the same as what I'm doing. You got to weigh up the risk. Sometimes it's worth the risk.
I think it's-
Deviating from the game plan can be okay if the reward is worth it. Do you know what I mean? If there's more upside than downside.
It's understanding it's an opportunity it's understanding the opportunity that's in front of you, isn't it? And trying not to take it off of the game plan.
But on that note, the game plan got you playing good, man. The game plan got you going low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So stick to the game plan. But then it's hard the other way as well, man. When you make a few bogeys and then you
The
get
game
a
plan's
drivable
not going
one.
No,
well.
that's the
yeah.
thing. We're still human. You know, you can't be complete robots. Some
how-
people
how
can
do-
do it.
So
I
how do you
can't
do it there? When you talk about sticking to the game plan, right? You've got a big competition. You start off poorly, but you've played.
This is what I struggle with, man.
So
So,
you-
I'll be listening to what Owen says about this
You've
one.
played. You know you're playing well. You've got off to a poor start, and the bogeys are just dragging. You've gotten a run of bogeys, right? But you've strategized the course the night before. Whoever you've discussed it. If you've got a caddy that day, you've discussed it, or you've walked the course. You know what you're hitting every hole. The temptation there's fuck this. I'm just gonna hit the ball as far up there as I can and try and make birdies to
birdies.
recover it. So Owen, I'm gonna hand over to you here. How do you keep in your game plan in that situation?
I mean, there's so many tournaments you're going to start off with a bad start, and it could not be your fault. I mean, I had it this week in Thrillford Heath. I hit my first tee shot of the day, it bounced in the middle of the fairway, kicked directly left, went straight into a gorse bush. That's a penalty drop straight away, 2 shots gone, bye. Like then there's nothing you can do, and all of a sudden I make a bogey, and I made another one a couple of holes later, and so I started off quite badly. And
We
all of a
talk about
sudden-
living in the future a lot, not in the past.
Yeah.
You can't control what you've done,
You
man.
can't control what you've done. You have to leave it there. But not only that, I think it's mainly having the trust within yourself to know that you've got the ability to bounce back, to know that you've done enough preparation to still make
Yeah.
birdies. Every hole out there is gettable, and if you every hole out
Yeah.
there you can make mistakes on. That's just golf, like, and that's it. So on any hole, you can make a birdie.
You'd
So
rather
if
it
you do a
happen on the
bad start-
first because
Yeah,
then
if
you've
you're
got
gonna have
17 to
yeah.
get it back. Like,
It's worse being in, like, imagine going down the last. We witnessed it this week. There was a guy going down the last who thought he had a 1-shot lead, and he's like 15 feet away from the hole and 3-putted, and the guy who was in
my
his
God.
group made a 1-putt for birdie and wins by 1.
Oh, shit,
And like
man,
in that
that's gonna
position
sting.
that you've run out of holes at that point.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to mess up, I'd rather it be at the start. I'd rather not mess up at all, of course. But you can't give up. That's the whole point. You've got, most of the time we play in tournaments, they're at least 2 rounds, 36 holes, maybe sometimes 54, sometimes 72.
Maybe this comes back to goal setting as well. You got to set new goals for your round. If your goal was not to make a bogey, then you go out and bogey 1. Then you need to set.
The thing is, what you just said, mental scar tissue is a real thing. When you get a bad beat like that, when it comes down to the last hole, that can really mess you up for life.
Yeah,
we've seen it so many times with
players. It only messes you up for life if you let it overtake you.
Oh, absolutely,
If you let the situation become more than what it is.
Absolutely,
because any golf shot is a golf shot.
It's just a golf shot.
Get in your car, go home.
Yeah.
But
if you carry that experience and overlay it on future situations, then it's just gonna consume you. You're just gonna remember that every single time.
And we all hit enough bad shots we have to learn to understand to control it, because there's enough guys who are out there on the tour we're playing at, because we're starting out, we're relatively new to all of this, and they're so hard on themselves. The way they carry themselves after they've played, or even out there, the attitude's terrible, telling themselves they're going to get jobs, or throwing their toys out of the pram and saying they're not good enough, and doing those things. I mean, me and my psychologist, we call that scolding. But doing those things, all you're doing is beating yourself up. But not only doing that, but
I've done that so many times in my work.
But not only are you doing that, you're fueling the other people around you.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
and then you're losing. You're not losing just to your group. You're
giving them power.
You're making them play better. So it goes back to what I said earlier. It's how you carry yourself with golf.
Maybe that's the solution to it as well. About if you start poorly, you get off your own back. You're not beating yourself up. You say, all right.
One of my favourite quotes of all time is Kobe Bryant, and he says, "Get over yourself. You're not that good. You're not that good. You're a player playing golf. There are so many other people playing golf.
No, absolutely.
That's all it is. Like, get over it, mate. That's all the situation is. And that's really the thing with big golf tournaments. That's why I try and think. It's just a game of golf. Like, it's not going to hurt me.
Yeah,
I'll be all right.
And that's something I really respect about the best guys on tour. After a bad beat, the way they come back, and some
of them still don't handle it very
well. So some of them don't. But the people that immediately spring to mind is like Adam Scott, for example. I think it was at 2012, that British Open, where he had a 4-shot lead, and he bogeys the last 4 holes to hand it to Ernie Els. And then if you see his interview after, he was so positive.
You have to focus on the good.
He focused on the good, and you can tell like a guy at that level has had mental coaching, because most people, 99% of people would kill themselves over it. And then what does he go and do? He talks about the positives, about how well he played the whole week. What does he go and do? He goes and wins the Masters next time.
Yeah,
things like that.
I've got a great story for you here. It's so relative to what you just said. So Rory McIlroy, when he nearly won the Masters, was it 20?
Oh yeah,
in 2012,
around 2011 around the time, he shot 80 in the final round.
He was like 6 in front with 9 to go or something like that. He messed it up, hooked it out of bounds on 10. So anyway, my psychologist Mike gets the call. Come work with Rory because he's friends with Chubby Chandler.
Oh, really?
So, and this is when he was starting with Chubby. Yeah.
Wait. This is the guy you see.
I'm working with
was
now.
off to work with Rory McIlroy.
This is from him.
That's crazy.
So we're sat there, and he's telling me the story. So Rory's come off of the golf course the next day. Chubby, or I don't know if it was Chubby or whoever it was, but their team was all in a room. Chubby was there. His caddy was there. I think his parents were there, and they were like, "Oh, we've got to sack the caddy." Like, no, we don't sack the caddy. They're going through all of these things of what they can do to make him win the Masters, to win a major. All right, we're going to employ a psychologist. So Mike's the one who gets the call. Right, you're going to be working with Rory. So Mike's really happy, excited. Rory comes into this meeting. I don't need to be changing anything. I just nearly won the Masters. I know now I'm good enough. Wow. That was his response. And then
he's his own mental coach.
He's gone from there. Yeah, literally. But he's gone from there to win six majors or something. But
4.
from him saying that he didn't need that mental help and the fact that he knew he was good enough, that was what he took from it. But that was the one that my psychologist always said was the one that got away.
On the way back from tournaments, we are always saying, "What are the best shots you hit?"
Yeah, you can't talk about
great putts you hold.
When Elliot caddies for me, we don't ever talk about any of the bad. Like honestly, and even
I find that fascinating. That's so amazing because even if I play my best round, I'm still dwelling on that stupid tee shot I hit or that stupid, putt I missed.
Hit another one.
If we do, it'll be blunt, honest, and then it's over, done.
Yeah, like when I was at Open qualifying, and I remember I hit a good shot into hole 8, and I was at 2 under par at this point in the round, and I had a good chance there to get to 3 under, and that would put me 1 shot off of what was the qualifying number with 11 holes to go, and I hit the worst putt you've probably ever seen in your life, wasn't it?
I've deleted that from my memory.
Do you see what I mean? We don't
Yeah,
talk about
yeah.
it. I mean, like I left it short from 8 feet up the hill.
Oh.
It's dead straight putt, absolutely easy to get to 300. But I mean, like we just don't talk about it.
Mm.
We just don't. We just leave it there, and instead he talks about the fact that how I bounced back from hitting it in the crap on the next hole and got it out up and down from the thick stuff to keep the round going. And then the next hole, the birdie that gets you, and it's all about the positive stuff because of we all make mistakes. We're human.
Yeah.
We're not machines. There's errors, so you have to let it go.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. 100% agree. Yeah. And, you know, when I first started out as a sports trader, I was like embarrassed to tell anyone like what I'm doing because I'm not making any money. You know, for my first few months, I was losing money, right? I wasn't even profitable. So
most big businesses do though at the start, don't they?
That's true. That's true. Yeah, you got to apply a trade, you got to learn your trade, then you break even, then you make money. So I was embarrassed like, to tell people like what I'm doing until I started making money from it. Then I started telling people I'm a sports trader.
Then you've got the pride because you've done it yourself off your own back. You've done your own thing, and everybody's told you that you couldn't do it, and you start doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the best.
But the thing is,
that's what I do it for.
Yeah, but what happened was I didn't want to put pressure on myself. But you've just turned professional, you know, and you carry yourself with a lot of confidence. You know where you want to go, and you're not scared to say it. What's that like? Like, do you not feel pressure, like, for you to perform? Are there not people building up expectations of you?
Of course I feel pressure.
But
not in the moment, in the heat of battle.
But don't you feel like you're bringing it on yourself when you make claims like, look, I want to be on the European tour and I want to be the best? Do you not feel you're putting pressure on yourself? Does that make you perform? Does that make you alive?
I mean, you're right. It is what we practice for, but at the same time,
because I'm the opposite. I want to go about my
be,
business and let that speak for itself, and then let people speak. Like I'm scared to tell anyone like what I want to do in case they hold a gun to my head, because that's what people do. And I'm gonna hold a gun to your head.
It's the law of attraction, man. If you speak it enough times.
No, I agree.
And I'm a big believer in what positivity brings to you when you put it out. So being positive with everyone else and with golf, with my family, with friends, with
I'm just playing devil's advocate, by the way. I agree with what you're saying. I'm just asking.
I completely. I
so
love it.
Here's a question. Talk about pressure and handling pressure. When you step on that first tee, do you get nerves on the first tee, or do you sit there and you think to yourself, "This is what I play for"? How do you handle that? Getting to the first tee?
I don't get nervous, man. It comes from fighting, man. We had a slogan. My coaches always had the slogan: "We fight anybody, anywhere, and any style, man. Whoever's they got 2 arms, 2 legs, they bleed blood. We'll have it out with them, man." I'm the same way on the golf course.
Like it's just so relevant as well, because like what has anybody else got on me? I've got 2 legs, 2 arms.
14 bats. We all got clubs, ball, fits in the hole.
We're all on the same golf course.
But the thing is,
on my day, I believe I can beat anyone. That's it.
But at the end of the day,
Floyd Mayweather always used to say,
he
said, any fighter who was in the room who didn't think they were the best is in the wrong sport. I believe it's exactly the same in golf. If you don't think you're the best, there's no point in showing up. Because
but having
second
said
place
that,
is no good. No one talks about it.
Having said that, though, as an amateur, you can afford to lose. As a professional, you know, you got sponsors. It's expensive, you know, traveling around, going to hotels, entering tournaments, carries. There's that financial pressure. Do you not feel it?
Yeah.
As you know, when you tee up as a professional?
I'd say last year I didn't enjoy my golf the most, which was my first year as a pro, because of the reason why I changed the game. Why I was playing the game changed. The reason why I was playing it, because I used to play it because I loved it and because I enjoyed it, and then all of a sudden I'm starting to try and make some money. I'm trying to earn $1 or whatever it is to pay for the next one or to pay back my parents, whatever it is. So when that changes, you stop playing well, and then I stopped enjoying golf. And then I learned that I had to go back away from money. I don't play for money again now. Like, it's just not what I'm there for.
Yeah.
So the pressure of the money thing. Yeah, I mean, of course, I don't want to be 30 years old living with my parents, 25 years old, or whatever it is. I want to get out and do my thing. I've got dreams and ambitions, but I don't worry about the money, man. Money comes and goes. I've lived with nice money in my bank account. I've lived with terrible money in my bank account. It doesn't change. You
know, I 100% agree. And again, I have to keep bringing this back to trading, back to what I do.
When you're trading other people's money, it must be much easier.
I only trade my with sports. It's, you know, it doesn't really work like that. It's not like financial markets. You can only trade with your own capital. But the thing is, when I started worrying about shit, I got to make X amount this month. I got this big tournament. I can't mess this up. I have to make this much money. I got to make this month. When I start thinking like that, I trade my worst. But when I start trading because I enjoy it and I know what I'm capable of and I just stick to my edge, everything just falls in place.
I think that's because you take away from focusing on the process.
Exactly.
More towards
you start worrying about the end goal and you forget what's in front of you. You know, and it's like that with golf. Like you said, when you start worrying about the money and other things, you forget about the shot in front of you.
I don't think it's quite reached the level of worrying about money with me yet with the golf. Mainly because I know that
you got time.
anybody. Yeah, but no, it's not that I've got time and things like that. I'll be fine, whatever, with my money.
Oh yeah, you got other things going on that we don't know about.
No. I mean through golf. Golf.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is you're not going to make money at this level. I'm not going to make money at this level at the tournaments I'm playing in.
Okay, but
there's no way in a season of what I spend in hotel costs, travel costs, food costs, all of these things. There's no way on earth that I'm going to cover what I'm spending.
Oh no, that's true.
Why worry about it? Because it's irrelevant. Like I'm going to be at a loss for my first year, for my second year, unless I kick on and do something major, which is possible at any point. Yeah. That's it.
Well, just for
once you win one tournament, you're gonna what we're playing in. You're gonna put yourself on a bigger platform, playing for twice, 3 times, 4 times as much money. You win this next tournament, you get a DP World Tour start, £1 million prize.
That's when you remember the
just to give listeners a bit of perspective. You know, the Clutch Pro Tour. What kind of money are we talking here? You know, for first place, second place, third place. What kind of prize money are we talking about?
In a normal event, you're looking at 2-3 grand, and in a major, you're going to look at 8. Like that's the top fund, and then it's broken down into the top 20-30 players. So an entry fee for an average standard event would be £165 to between that and maybe 270, something in between that bracket.
Right.
And then depending on whether it's 1 or 2 days, and then the big events, the majors, they cost £400 an entry. So you're spending £400. You then got to fund your fuel, your hotel, and your food for the week. So you're going to be away from home for 3-4 days.
Yeah.
So you're spending probably near enough £1,000 before you've even hit a shot.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So what's the point in going out there and worrying about money? Because you're already losing.
You know that's the right attitude. That's such a great attitude. The way I think about it is, man, I'd have all that pressure on me financially.
I can't lose out there. All that's going to happen is I'm going to learn. I'm going to gain some experience.
Yeah.
I might win and make a profit for the week. Mm-hmm. Great.
But having said that, you know, the tour you're on, like I said, there's a lot of amateurs who you've played with, you know, as an amateur. You're seeing them now as professionals. And some of your, you know, fellow peers are winning. How does that make you feel? Does that make you jealous, or does that make you revved up?
It's strange.
Do you feel good for him? Or, you want to be like, well done, bro? Or do you want to be like, shit, that could be me.
Listen,
I'm better than this guy.
One of my friends won a major 2-3 weeks ago at Royal Norwich, Jensen Hole. I'll give him a little shout out.
All right.
He's a really good lad. I lived with him for 3 weeks in Portugal this year over the winter period when we were doing some training. And he won at Royal Norwich, won a major, £8,000, 5 challenge tour starts, something like that. I was so happy for him.
That's incredible.
Like, because I want him to do well. I would always want someone to do well. Obviously, beating me is harsh and hard.
Yeah.
This week at Thrillford Heath, I'm watching my friend Jake in the group behind me. He's got to make birdie down the last to take the clubhouse lead off me, and he does it. And I'm like, I've never ever wanted anyone to miss a putt and make a putt so bad in my life.
Yeah, I can imagine, you know, like the mix of emotions.
But what can you do? Like at the end of the day, if it's your time, it's your time, and if it's not, it's not. But you just got to believe always that your best golf's still to come. And if you're finishing top 4, top 5, top 10, and you still got your best golf to come, someday someone's gonna get duppied.
True that.
So that's actually a really good way to look at it. Takes away all the, I guess, playing for money, financial pressure totally out of the equation. I had this conversation actually very recently. So I play poker cash games, and making that decision, the edge that I find that I have is I trust my decision making, I trust my strategy, I trust my experience. When someone else is saying, I can't go in all in for £500, the guy's looking at me like, oh, I have to think about that. Then suddenly I can bluff him for that £500. Whereas if the guy was doing that to me and I think it's the correct call, you got to take all emotion out of it. And I believe that's an edge that you gain on the field.
Last couple of days. Yeah, me and Elliot have been talking about that, like how you separate emotion from things. And you were saying you find it a lot easier than definitely to how I do, because you're just obviously a different person. But
yeah, it's a muscle that you train, man. I think.
Do you think that gives you an edge on the field then? If you say you're not playing for money, you're saying the other guys don't handle it well.
You start on a better foot for sure. Whether it gives you the chance, the upper hand or not, I don't know. But you start on the right foot, definitely.
Because I'd like to think if you guys were going down the stretch, it's about executing the shot and playing for first place, not playing for £8,000. I'm
Yeah,
hoping.
definitely. I'm never. Do you know what? I don't. You can keep the money as long as I get the starts to the next level. That's it. Because I just want to elevate my career. I'm not
So
interested.
are you saying winning's more important than the money?
Yeah, well, I don't play golf for money. I don't care how much money I make. I want to make so much money that my family. I want to pay my family back for what they've done for me. I want to look after my kids,
Of
grandkids,
course,
all of that. All of course, but that's not why I do it. I do it for the love of what I do.
Okay.
I do it because of it's what I'm good at. I feel like I've got a gift there. That's it.
Right, so having said all that, naturally that'll bring us to what I want to talk about next. If you felt like you was good enough, right? You know what level you're capable of playing at. If you earned your European tour card, would you forego it if the LIV tour came around and offered you $1 million?
Yes, absolutely.
Why?
That's the accountant in him talking, you know? The risk aversion.
There's bigger things out there than golf, man. Yeah, and you still get to play. But that's coming from me. I'm not really a big golf fan. I've never been a big golf fan. So the PGA to me doesn't mean a whole lot. But when you see them zeros, that means something to me.
But if you believe in yourself,
Personally.
if you believe you're at that level, you belong at that European tour level, why would you go to a tour which is going to take you away from competition?
Do you know what? I would take LIV now over what I'm playing in, of course, because of one, it's televised. There's going to be big things watching.
No, of course, right now. You
if
would.
I was to, I don't want to play European Tour. I want to play European Tour. I'd prefer to play PGA Tour. I want to live in America and I want to do things over there. But if I was to get my card for that, I would. It's a tough question. It's a lot of money, isn't it? But at the end of the day, I would rather play.
There's no right or wrong answer. These are all hypotheticals.
This is my answer.
Yeah.
I'd rather play in all 4 majors and win all 4 of those. That's what I do the game for.
But there's no guarantee. LIV offering guaranteed cash.
There's
Barrels of cash.
There's
1
a
million.
guarantee, mate.
I like
the
that.
mindset.
I'm a play in those.
Yeah.
I have to.
No, I like that.
That's my life goal. And do you know what? I got a lot of respect.
That's your goal, the majors.
Yeah.
See, my goal's very different.
No, my goal's to win the majors.
My goal's not money orientated either. I want to change the way the game's looked at, man. I don't like the way golf's viewed in society, man.
How do
I
you
want
mean?
to shift that.
How do you mean?
Well, it's not welcoming to everybody, man. I
In
believe
what
that's
sense?
wrong.
In what sense?
Well, there's barriers. There's financial barriers, status barriers. Like even
I think the financial barriers, that's nothing anyone can do about. I mean, golf courses are expensive to join. Golf clubs are expensive to buy. So that'll always be there. You know, those barriers financially will always be there. It's not like football where you can buy a pair of trainers and a football and have a kick about.
There's guys in the industry who are very good at the game, who have financial barriers to opportunity, and that should be different.
You mean they can't afford to
They can't. There's guys out there who, like, for example, we got a guy at Moore Park who I practice with a lot up there. He's 18 years old. He can probably afford to play in 4 amateur events a year. That is not right. That is not right. He's a talented kid with a dream. He deserves an opportunity to play as much as he can.
I see what you mean, but Elliot, how do you think something like that would ever change?
I'm
you know,
not
because the thing is, if someone is talented enough, they'll get the sponsorship.
True.
You know, you can't give sponsorship to everyone.
I'm not talking too much competitively. I'm talking just accessibility for everybody, man. Anybody who wants to just play, not compete.
If you want to play football,
so
you can just go in the park and kick a ball.
I tell you what, I disagree to an extent because now you got so many driving ranges and, you know, crazy golf, and you can rent clubs. You can always have a whackabout for a $5 or a $10, get a bucket of balls.
It's definitely accessible
in that sense.
Better.
Yeah, I think it's welcome in that sense. I think it is accessible.
I think the other thing is,
if you want to play seriously, it is expensive.
Talk about welcoming. You've got a lot of ex-footballers now who are big on golf. You know, even we grew up watching Soccer AM. See Tubes getting a golf channel.
The shifts, it's
things
moving,
like that.
It's shifting for
So
sure.
You got a golf channel? Oh, I think I've seen that actually. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot more people getting involved in it. I mean, you have Gaz from Geordie Shore. He's like massive on golf now.
Oh, really?
Like 5 years ago, I was watching on TV out every night with clubs of girls. Like,
I can honestly say I've never watched Geordie Shore.
probably not even. That's probably longer than 5 years
I don't
ago.
watch any of
That's
that
probably
junk
8 years ago.
TV. Geordie Shore,
That was probably
Jersey Shore.
8 years ago.
Yeah.
And now he's playing golf, doing YouTube on golf.
It's
You know what I mean? How different it is.
It's becoming more cool, you know. That's how I'd say it.
I guess it is, and the dress sense has relaxed a bit. They're allowing hoodies on the course.
I've been in hoodies
I think it's
and
criminal.
We say it all the time.
I bet Elliot likes it. I think it's criminal.
We say this all the time. We're pro golfers, but we're not golfers. Like there's a certain.
You're a golfer, bro.
No, I'm not a golfer, mate.
But your background's not.
But the thing is,
privileged,
I like the rules that have been set in place. I like the etiquette of the golf. The way
I like the way that it teaches respect.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can play with people from all different ages and walks of life.
That's one one of the
At
most
12
beautiful
years
things
old-
about the
At
sport.
12 years old, I learned to shake everybody's hand at the golf club from all ages, just to
Yeah.
greet them and do that with manners. Like,
But
That's
Owen, you didn't
yeah.
come from, you talk about golf and accessibility. You don't mind me saying this, is you didn't come from stupid money. You didn't come from privilege. You see some of these kids now at the golf clubs. As a kid joining a golf club, if you're not from that background, there is a whole thing like, I've got to keep up with the Joneses, I've got to keep up with these guys here.
And this, for me, this hits a point about, you said, what's the difference between amateur and pro? I think at the professional events, their priority is different. It's not about showboating. It's not about who's got a nicer club. It's not about who's got a nicer swing, because it's all about the number that goes on the board at the end.
Absolutely.
yeah, in amateur stuff, there's a lot more hype around little things, isn't there? Like who's in the England team or things like that. And
But it helps it, it goes a long way. It takes you a long way, in terms of experience, in terms of the
definitely, yeah.
coaching and everything.
Absolutely.
These are guys that are groomed
these are
to be the
things
next
I've
big
missed
things
out
in the
on.
sport.
I've never played for England.
I find that
never
very
played.
unusual, but you didn't play year in, year out all the top events, did you? You only done it for a few years.
I did for probably 17 when I was 18. My last year as a junior, I played the big junior stuff. And then I turned pro when I was 21. So 19, 20 was my last 2 years. That was when I won at Tillman when I was 19. So I played in a lot of the big stuff.
But by the
after
way,
that
for
2 years.
those that are listening, the Tillman Trophy is one of the most prestigious amateur tournaments in England. I think it's a 4-day scratch event, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
very
That's
accredited.
four rounds, 3
It's-
days.
And
4 rounds.
you won
4
that
rounds.
in a playoff, right?
Yeah, I won that in the playoff.
And I think Justin Rose won it as an
No,
amateur.
Ernie
didn't he?
Els. Ernie Els won it.
Pretty sure Justin won
Oliver
it.
Fisher. He might have done. I've not seen it. I can't remember.
I think
I
Sandy
can't remember.
Lyles won that.
It's not been in my
I've
hands
seen
for a
it.
long time. That
I've seen it on
trophy.
the
So
board.
some big names,
Hold tight,
have won that trophy
Yeah.
that you've won.
Oliver,
That's incredible.
Ross Fisher's on there. Sorry, Ernie Els. Yeah, I can't remember.
What did that do for your confidence? That must have been
Do you
great
know
for
what?
the ego boost.
This is actually a really good. This is actually a really good thing to talk about because when I won that, like I said to you, I thought so. In my first year of university, I was off of 1.
You said you couldn't believe it.
I couldn't believe it. But
How old were you then? First year?
my first year, I was
Well,
18.
18, yeah.
So my first year of uni, I had a really hard time. I didn't enjoy it so much, and I just played golf all the time. I just worked so hard on my golf. I was off of a handicap of 1, and I come back in my second year, won the Tillman Trophy off of +4, and then all of a sudden,
That's crazy.
Oh, that's
all of
in
a
old
sudden-
money in the old handicap system.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
on the old. That's on the old system. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I did that in 4 months, which is it is unheard of. I don't know anyone else who's done that. But the point is after I won that tournament, I thought I was something, and mate, I really weren't. Like I thought I was gonna be.
As in, 'cause it was harder to win than you
I knew I'd be looked at from an England point of view, like
Yeah.
that potentially over the next 2 years I could break into their team if I carry on with results.
Uh-huh.
But I thought because I won one, that I was someone that I was gonna definitely be where I want to be, and nothing's gonna happen bad. Like this is it now. I'm gonna kick on.
Mm.
And the next 2 years, I mean, I had some things family wise which weren't great, but I didn't play well, and I haven't. I feel like I've hit higher heights now over the last 18 months. But before that, mate, I thought I was sick, and I was no.
You still think you're sick.
Well, how can I say?
I'm a lot better than I was back then, but
Well, help me understand. You're saying you won the Tillman Trophy, and you're saying you didn't feel as good as you thought you was before that. Is that what you're saying?
no, I thought I was way better than so basically, I win the tournament, I get the trophy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I now think I'm someone because
Yeah.
I've won
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
tournament. But really, like, just because you win that doesn't mean you're anyone.
Mm.
Like, you could go next week, miss cut,
Yeah, no, that's true.
and that's it.
Yeah.
Everyone forgets about you.
Uh-huh.
Like, and I thought that wasn't going to be the case. I thought I'm going to win the next one. I'm going to win the next one, and no one's going to have a chance. And that was it.
So,
But-
sorry, you
and
were
learn,
not-
and
yeah.
you learn at that point that, mate, the game, the world, everything is way bigger than who you think you are. And like I said earlier with the Kobe thing, you've got to get over yourself.
That's it. And however good you think you are, there's
Mm.
always someone out there better. So, what age were you when you thought, I can make a go of this? I can really turn pro. I can really.
When
make
I met
money
my
from this game.
psychologist, I knew I was going to do it.
So you always know when you were 16.
When I was 16, and yeah,
Wow.
there's no looking back. No,
That's
no way.
incredible.
There's too many people who have made too much sacrifice and put too much into me as a person and into my golf journey for me to give it up and forgo it. Like, it just has to happen. There's no way. There's just no way.
Oh, that's amazing.
And so you moved to Moore Park Golf Club.
Mm-hmm.
Just dropping that in there. Just make all the Moore
I'm,
Park
I'm
people
trying.
happy.
I'm trying my very
Yeah,
best.
Elliot's
get
trying
in.
to join.
Elliot's
We need
trying-
a-
I don't know if we'll let you
Yeah,
in.
don't let Riff Raff in
I don't
there.
let you
man.
in.
if we can waiver a few fees.
I'll tell you what, guys, for people listening, Moore Park Golf Club, we've produced 2 touring professionals on the European tour. Owen's looking like he's going to be the next. But if we can get Elliot on tour as well, that will be historic to have 4 touring professionals from
And
one
Nick.
golf club. There's nowhere on earth that has that. And Nick, hopefully get him on the next
get Nick,
podcast.
yeah.
He's another promising
So
player.
Owen, I want to ask you, why did you move to Moore Park?
Because I won there. That was where I won the tournament. It was before I was a member when I won there. And
Open qualifying.
I fell in love with the place. I love the golf course. And then they have open qualifying there for the next 5 years. So I was thinking that's obviously a great way to get onto the tour and get yourself out there. And that's a great way to get, obviously, exposure. And
Great
everything.
members, great atmosphere.
There's a great great
Exactly.
members, great atmosphere.
Let it be.
And the practice facilities. That was a big thing. At my old
Mm.
club, they used to charge for range balls, and I think that's a joke for people like who
Oh,
are trying
really?
to make a career in this sport. Like, I'm hitting a golf ball out there into a field that you're going to go pick up and put back in the bucket. Like, you're going to try and charge me £10 to hit them 90 times.
Oh
Come
my
off it.
They can't
Yeah,
pick
I
them out of
agree.
the trees, cause
Don't hit them there, mate.
Switching gears quickly, just because we don't have that much time left. Live Tour, I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
You know, this is the news, the talk of the day. At every golf course, I imagine, you know, especially amongst journalists and the media, even players are squabbling over it now.
Yeah.
What's your guys' opinion, you know, on the tour?
Do you want to go first? Or shall
I love it, man. I think more competition, the better. If you don't like it, then you stay on the PGA, you watch the PGA.
When you say more competition for who? You mean for the tours
for the
or for
tour,
the
for the-
players?
yeah,
Because
you-
the players is certainly not more competition. And for those that don't know, by the way, you know, in golf, traditionally, the 2 biggest tours have been the PGA Tour in America and the European Tour. So the LIV Tour is a Saudi-backed tour. And as you know, the Saudi royal family have unlimited funds, and they're just throwing cash at PGA Tour and European Tour players to join their tour. And it's only 54 holes long. Traditionally, a tournament is 72 holes with a 36-hole cut-off point. There's no cut. It's 54 holes.
Shotgun start as well.
Shotgun start.
it fits
It's like
straight
a...
into
There's only 8 events.
They got like
on the
loud
schedule.
blaring music. It's meant to be like fun for
it
the
fits
fans
straight
and
into
players.
the narrative I want of
Yeah.
the golf changing
It's
its
exactly what
appearance.
it
I
likes,
think
yeah.
it's perfect.
You think it's
It's more of
changing
a
for the
festival,
better
isn't
in
it?
that sense?
It's fun, man. It's way more fun.
One thing I noticed about it from a viewer's point of view is, it was on YouTube.
And how'd you view it?
It was on YouTube. I actually went to the event. I think it was very well done, the event, but you didn't miss a shot. There was no adverts, and with the shotgun start, something's always happening. And I think, you know, competition for, I think golf on TV has got very stale outside of the big competitions. You don't
I
get
agree.
the, and this is me as a golfer, I claim to be a golfer anyway, who wants to watch these competitions week in, week out. I don't see the top players going at it often enough other than majors. And
I look at it a bit like 2020, man.
yeah, and with the LIV Golf,
I guess, yeah,
it's given something different.
That's for analogy.
I think the competition will make the PGA and the European Tour probably a better product for the viewers.
It's already made them throw more money into their
That's
tours.
the competition I was talking about, yeah.
Well, you look from an economic standpoint, from a capitalist standpoint, I think it's great, you know, because I don't think anyone should have monopoly over any industry. And the PGA Tour and European Tour, you know, they've had golf by the balls, you know, since history. And now someone's come along and they've shaken things up, you know, and they're trembling in their boots. Suddenly the PGA Tour found another $80 million to add to the prize pot. You
You
know,
wonder
they had
where that
80
is
million
before,
lying
don't
around.
you?
Yeah, where was that before?
But the thing is,
So I think things like that are good. The PGA Tour now stepping up. European Tour are probably going to step up. But all this media drama, you know, heckling players, you know, for joining the LIV, you know, complaining about Saudi's human rights record. Hello? Have you seen
Yeah.
America's human rights record?
Mm.
False incarcerations, death penalty, foreign illegal wars. You know, where do you want to start? So the hypocrisy is amazing.
I think it's a great addition to the golfing world as a tour.
You as a player
agree.
think it's good.
I do, yeah, because I think it's a great. It's more opportunity for guys to get out there. You've now got 3 tours for us to play on, as opposed to 2. So more people can make money from the game,
But how
which
do
is
you
which is great from that point of view. Which I disagree with it, where I kind of feel a little bit like, hold on a minute, this isn't, for my opinion, correct. You've got guys like Lee Westwood, Sergio Garcia, the guys at the end of their career. It's perfect for them, right?
That's what I'm
This is
saying. Yeah.
perfect
I
for
think
them.
for them it's
But,
okay.
but for the guys in their like 20s, mid-20s, what are they supposed to do? They're being pulled from left, right and centre with a load of money. They're being told that they can't then play in the events that they've grown up as a kid dreaming to play of. I just don't know, man. That's just
You
not
know,
right.
you're literally repeating what I said to Elliot on the golf course today. I said the exact same thing. Guys at the tail end of their career who've already accomplished everything. Phil Mickelson's
But
won
Richard
majors.
Bland,
Brooks
he's
Koepka's won majors. Richard Bland's
pulled
never going to win a
blinder,
major.
mate.
Yeah,
He's
I know.
pulled a blinder.
Yeah.
He's getting paid every week. He tees
Pat
it up.
Perez.
It's minimum 140k if he comes last.
There you go.
And do you know what? He's a great player and he could win these events, which is great as well because he could make 4 million. But
For guys like Matt, Wolf, and guys like Colin Morikawa,
done his time. He's
that's
gone
what I
through
mean.
the
He's earned his
He pulled a
stripes.
blinder there, man.
He's
It's
earned his
perfect
stripes on the
timing for
European
him.
tour.
Yeah, he's done his thing, and he's achieved so much. It's great.
But for young players like Matt Wolf, you know, guys with the potential to compete and win for majors, don't you feel it's like it's going to hurt their game?
I feel like it's
chasing the money.
unfair on those guys because of they're the guys holding the PGA Tour and the European Tour together now.
That's what I'm saying.
You take Rory, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, Brooks Koepka.
You got no tour left.
And I know Koepka's gone, but you take all these guys, keep taking them away from the tour.
You got no tour left.
You got no tour. You just got nobody wants to watch.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You got no tour.
And
Viewership
a lot of
absolutely
those
tank.
players have gone were quite high on they released that player initiative program on social media hits. A lot of the players they've taken are players who've built their brand. People like Bryson, people like Brooks.
There's a new thing in golf now for the top 10 highest socially influencing guys in the game.
That's the PIP.
Yeah.
What? What's
Yeah.
that?
So the highest they get paid, I think it's like 10 million or something.
Most influential.
The top 10, the most influential people for the game. So you got Bryson in there.
Who pays them?
Tiger, Rory.
They pay the most influential people. Are we
10
going by
million.
like social media?
So
like,
someone
that kind of
like
influence.
Colin Morikawa when he was world number 1 was the 11th most influential player in golf. So he was world number 1 in golf, but was missing out on 10 million because he wasn't as influential.
What about Rick Shields? He's got more followers than all of them on YouTube.
Tiger Woods did it in one tweet, didn't he?
No comment.
After his accident, he did one tweet of a golf swing.
Who?
Tiger Woods, and he won it.
Crazy.
He won it. He won
Oh
10 million off one tweet.
I mean, Tiger Woods hasn't been competitive for the last
what
how
Tiger's
many
done
years.
for
He's
the
still one
game.
of the highest paid athletes.
You can't say
This is the other thing.
2019.
What he's done for the PGA Tour.
He deserves it.
He doesn't deserve enough. He doesn't get enough.
They
praise
should
for
name
what
the
he's
tour
done for-
after him. The man.
It's,
He's-
it's, yeah, they should. They fully should. He should have more than one event hosted by him. And not only that, but I kind of disagree with the guys doing it to him.
See
because
how I
he's-
am putting? Tiger is golf, man. Like that, bro. Mayweather's boxing, I am putting. Tiger is golf, man.
Soon I'll be I am podcasting.
You are
I'll be the face of podcasting. No, but the Open. I mean, it looks like this will be Tiger's last competitive Open at St
Do you
Andrews.
think?
And I
By
mean,
the looks of
how,
his tears.
they go around the courses, right? I think there's around 10 courses they play. I reckon in Tiger's
Every 5
lifetime,
years it goes back to St Andrews.
Well,
in 5 years, really,
they said 2030.
Was the next one now?
8
So
years.
8 years.
8 years.
It's looking
Usually
unlikely
it's
he's going to be
every
back. Me and Zan, I mean, you know, you're 23, but me and Zan grew up watching Tiger since 97, 98.
I didn't
This is
start
like the
watching
end of a
golf
historic
until
period.
after him.
So for me, I didn't
seriously?
even play golf then, right? So for me, it was cool to watch golf because Tiger Woods was playing this.
It's the
I
end
mean,
of an
I'm
era.
like, I guess I'm opposite to the British public. I like a winner, you know. I grew up with everyone. Everyone loved Jimmy White. He came second all the time in the snooker. It was a big thing then, right? Or it kept, poor Jimmy, he's lost again. I like Mayweather. I like Muhammad Ali. I like
McGregor.
Yeah,
You know, Touchy, you know when you done that little McGregor thing when you said, I am putting, you know where all that first came from? It was the first Nike advert, Tiger Woods advert. All these kids saying, I am Tiger Woods. I am Tiger
I
Woods.
remember
Have you
that
seen
actually.
it? That was the first
I've seen
one.
that.
And that was a game-changing advert. And then after that, you know, the rest is history. You know, what he's done for the game. Game changer. But talking about the Open, who's your pick for this week? Where should I put my money?
Well, I'm
Cameron
not playing,
Smith let
so I
the
wouldn't say-
course on fire. Cameron Smith let the course on fire today.
Yeah,
You
he
got your
did,
normal-
eh?
64.
Usual suspects: Cameron Smith, Scotty Scheffler, Rory
Rory.
McIlroy, Dustin's up there, I think.
I made a good trade on Cameron Smith during the Masters. I backed him at 20-1, and I cashed out. I think around 3-1, 4-1. I thought he had it, but
Yeah, I thought he was going to win.
yeah, Scheffler after
I
that
think
chip on the
Cameron
third.
Smith's a good shout to win the Open. I actually think it's going to be Rory. I think
It's going to be a low number, whatever.
You thinking
it is.
with your head or your heart?
I called this at the start of the week as well. I think this will be the lowest scoring they've ever seen at St
The
Andrews.
courses have short
19
right now.
under is the all-time lowest score.
Oh yeah,
recorded
25
for-
plus, I reckon.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I don't know about 25. I think
I
about
reckon.
23, 24 will win.
I think they've all got off to a hot start. I don't think they can have their foot on the gas for
Mate,
4
the weather's
rounds.
perfect.
You reckon it's going to break
the
20?
weather's perfect.
Mhm.
It was soft
It's
today
such a
as well.
short golf course as well.
That's just going to take the piss
with
in
how
it for
firm
St
it is.
Andrews.
Well, the last hole, they're all knocking it on.
They'll have to
Yeah.
put the holes in the bunkers.
It's a long
or
par
something.
3 and it's a par 4, you know.
Cut pins in the bunkers. That's what they'll have to do. Slow the scoring down.
I mean, my head says Cameron, my heart says Rory, But
I think Rory's going to do it, man.
I think if Rory wins, I mean, talking about this LIV Golf tour, Rory's probably been one of the most vocal players against it. He's one of the biggest brands in golf.
Most loyal, yeah.
Yeah.
But he actually said something.
He's backed them up a lot.
He actually said
Hovland's
something.
up there as well.
well, he's kind of
He actually
changed
said
his tune a
something
bit.
interesting the other day. Is he said the PGA needs to find a way to work with LIV Golf. And
Yeah, I agree.
going back to LIV Golf, sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here. But when the IPL first came, Kevin Peterson wanted to break away from England and play in the IPL. He said the best players are playing there. I'm earning money there and I'm learning and I'm training with the best. I want to be an elite player. I have to be there, right? England didn't let players go to the IPL. It was a huge thing. They said he's disgraceful, he's a traitor, he's a maverick, he's going for the money, whatever. Look at it now. There's a break in the cricket. There's a break in the cricket calendar to go
Multi-million,
there.
billion-dollar industry, and now they're thinking about taking the IPL to America. But there's that argument playing 2020, hurts. Test cricket hurts one day, but that's a conversation for another day.
We'll leave that.
Fine,
on
before we
pod.
wrap this up, we're gonna wrap this up here. It's been a great conversation, by the way, and we're definitely gonna do this again. Many times in the future. But before we wrap this up, just quickly, who's your pick for the Open this weekend? This is going up tomorrow. It's going up on Saturday.
I'm saying Hovland.
Oh, that's not a bad
I'm
one.
love
rooting
him
for
to
you,
win
mate.
it.
I'm
That's not a
rooting
bad
for
one.
you, Victor.
Yeah, I'd love him to win it. I think Rory was going to win, yeah.
My heart, Rory. I just think.
I'm not a massive Rory fan either. But I think he's just going to
He's balling out.
He's balling right now.
I just think
I love him.
he's
I think
playing the best
great.
golf
He's just
this
not my
year.
favourite player.
He's not won that much, but
He's
apart
playing
from
unreal, yeah.
apart from Scheffler,
this year he looks like the Rory of old, doesn't he?
yeah,
The
and
hype with him and
I mean, he's
Tiger.
letting
he's
the
playing with a
Mm.
smile on his face.
He looks like he's having fun out there, yeah. It's
I
cool
mean-
to watch.
I
And
mean,
do you know
he's so
what?
ratchet.
He deserves it more than anyone
He
else. I
plays
think.
well around that track as well.
Yeah,
I mean, he's so right.
How about you?
erratic.
Who's your pick then? Gambling.
I'm gonna go with my.
Cameron Smith.
I'm gonna go with my heart, Rory.
Mm.
But I'm gonna trade. I'm gonna make money regardless.
Yeah.
That's all that counts. Do you know what I mean? But it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna go.
It's
Can't
set
wait
up
to
to be
watch
a
it.
good Open, man. There's a lot of names up there. The course is good.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
definitely.
And shout out to my boy Jack Bigham as well. He was up there this week playing in the Champion of Champions. That's so cool to see
man,
him on the
lucky.
TV.
Lucky him, man. That's crazy. Hopefully, we get to see you there.
Oh, you will,
one day
mate.
in the not
Next
so
year,
distant future.
get another go at it.
you'll have Elliot on the bag.
You'll be
I'll
playing.
be there as well.
Just checking.
We'll have to pick different venues, innit? So we
That's
can
what I
both get in.
No, but seriously, I'm obviously gonna track. You guys being at Moore Park. Hopefully, Elliot, you join Moore Park now as well. I'm gonna be tracking you guys, and I'm rooting for both of you, man. I really hope you
I
two make
appreciate
it.
that, man.
And I think it's so good getting you guys on here
Thank you for having us on.
early.
Yeah,
No,
thank you for having
absolutely.
us on, man. It's been fun. I've
Anytime.
enjoyed it.
We're gonna do this again. It's been a real
Absolutely.
interesting chat, talking about your mental approach, and it's just so funny how many similarities there are with what I do for a living, and how much it goes hand in hand. So yeah, hopefully after your next win, you're not allowed on there till you win. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, we'll definitely do this again soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you guys want to plug your socials? I don't know if you're big on Instagram. I don't use Instagram. I'm on Twitter.
I do
so
use Instagram, yeah. You just Owen Benson Golf. That's it for my golf page.
wicked.
I need sponsors,
Elliot.
man. If I'm gonna put a plug there, I need sponsors.
Well, you
I
never
need
know
help
who's
with it. I
listening.
need support, man. There you go.
Well, plug
I
your
need
socials then.
sponsors as well.
Elliot Bourke Golf. That's it, man.
Yeah,
That's
Elliot
it.
Bourke Golf, Owen Benson Golf. That's
All right,
it.
you guys know where to follow me, and you know where to follow me. This has been great. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. And yeah, go follow them on social media. And I'll see you guys soon.